Hello everybody, welcome back to the shop. In today's video, we're dealing with a little bit of a rusty situation. So yeah, it's a very typical GM rot of the GMT 800s, rockers, cab corners, and somebody tried to repair the rockers by using aluminum siding and spray foam, and it made it worse than what it was. So that led on to the floors as well. So today we're going to get the floors and the rockers taken care of. And let's not hesitate, let's get started. So here's what I'm starting with. Here's the custom made cab corner patch. It didn't look too bad. It actually looked really good. I'll give the previous owner credit. Got a giant rod hole in the door. All that is aluminum siding. It goes all the way to there, where there is a gigantic step. And that's packed full of silicone. So this truck needs work. As you can see, I have the outer rocker cut away from the cab. And there is just a bunch of rusty wafers that used to be metal. Yeah, rust is not the best thing for a vehicle at all. All this stuff is rotted, needs to be replaced. This corner is still okay, but I'm going to cut it out anyway to make sure no rust is in there, because you never know. So I'm going to start on the driver's side of the truck. You can see I have lines drawn out on the floor. These are pieces that need to be cut out because of rust. You can see the hole in the floor. And everything that is marked out is getting cut out and replaced with some clean metal. I found a remote starter, and it's going right in the garbage. Or you can see I have all the rusty pieces of metal cut out. Think of this as a giant puzzle, but you have to make the pieces and make them fit. To help me get everything cut out correctly for this truck, I actually use cardboard. It's the best thing you can use to make patch panels. If you screw up the template, just make a new one. Here is the first piece I made, and here's the second piece I made. It's gonna lay in there make it a little bit bigger, of course. But you can see how the cardboard is gonna help you make patches for the floor. Hey look, more rust. It never stops. Doing this job is a messy job and stuffing it everywhere. I actually gotta take the time and clean some of this stuff up. I need something like a broom. There we go, that's a lot better. Just taking everything and sweeping all of this debris out to have a cleaner work surface. Alright, so this part of the floor is pretty rusty, so I bought this floor pan. This is going to be doing two things, but the first thing I'm going to be using this for is cutting out a small section to splice in. Wait for my hands to start moving. Right along here is going to get cut, and wherever I made the patch panels before, this will overlay, that way it's all nice and clean. To actually get this prepped, we got to remove a couple things. First is the shifter cable that has to come out. And there it is. This goes all the way down to the transmission, of course, so it's going to get removed. Any second now. There it is. It doesn't look good either. Who would have thought? Now taking and scraping the seam sealer off. This is from the factory. They actually use this to seal up any large gaps that can't really be welded, and this stuff is everywhere, and it is pretty tough to get off, so you gotta put some elbow work into it, as I say. There is a nice big chunk right there. Just scrape away a little rust to see if this part of the floor is bad. It wasn't. Thank God. this is not an easy piece to make or replace either. Gotta get that broom again. More stuff I gotta sweep out. A lot of dirt too. This truck is pretty dirty on the inside as well as the outside. So to not screw up this harness, which is crucial, I'm gonna move it out of the way and hit the tripod. I don't know what this stuff is on the floor. It's not seam sealer, it's not rust. I don't know what this was, but just had to double check and waste some time. Now you can see I am very carefully measuring and drawing lines to make sure I get this cut nice. And I have a bad Sharpie. Bye-bye. Hopefully this one works. It does. Yeah, this up in here, that line was kind of hard to measure and draw and cut too. Speaking of cutting, what are we going to use to cut out this floor? The spinning wheel of death that is air powered, and a tiny air saw for that really pinpoint accurate cut. So here's the old section on the floor. From this side it doesn't look too bad. Once you get to the back side, then you see why I replaced it. It was pretty thin right along through here, and that wasn't good news to me. And here's its replacement. That section got cut out, and it actually doesn't fit pretty bad. But some parts still need to be fitted, like up in there. There's a slight gap that needs to be ground down and fit. Up and through here fits pretty good too. I'm actually surprised there's no gap. Well, maybe a little bit of a gap, but it's not bad. Doesn't look too bad, I'm surprised. This will also replace that thin section metal too I cut out. Still have to put a patch on that side as well. Yeah, right there. Thanks, me. And that lip has to be welded onto that piece as well. After it got fitted, it got welded in place. At this time, it wasn't fully welded in just yet. Just enough tacks to support it and to see how it would look. And honestly, it doesn't look too bad. Now we're on the left rear of the cab. This is another section of floor that is thin. And of course, I gotta clean this section too. Where's that broom at? Ah, there it is. Makes cleaning a breeze. And if you're really good with it, you can fly with it too. Alrighty, let's let the fun commence. Yay! I got a cut right along through here on this rib, because that's where the thin spot is, and it's all the way to the end of the cab. No surprise there. Here's what's left of that floor pan. That little section where the ribs are, that's what's going to be replacing what's left of that floor. It's not going to look perfect, but in my case, I don't care. Gotta carefully measure. Measure a lot. And I mean a lot. See? I proved it to you. I don't know how many measurements I took at this floor, but it was tedious. And I'm still trying to figure out where to make the cuts. Yep, gotta measure there too. Did I say you had to measure a lot to do this? Because you have to. Finally, I can draw a line. Got a steel roller. That way we have a nice straight line. It's gonna start drawing lines. where I decided to make my cuts. A lot of arts and crafts involved in this too. And another Sharpie went dead. Join your friend. It's fun flinging those across the floor. Is this one gonna work? It is. Now I gotta scrape up more seam sealer, and look how satisfying this was. Yeah. I gotta get a like for that one. That took credit and skill. Now I'm drilling out spot welds. Some of these I'm going all the way through, and some I am not, for a specific reason that you'll see later. There's many of these, and there's some that were hidden too. There's that broom again. There is a hidden one right there. It's hammer time. Gotta bust the welds loose. More seam sealer. More spot welds. I actually like this sequence. It came up pretty good. A lot more hammering. A lot more rust. And more spot welds. Now I'm just taking my anger out in this rust bubble. So I skipped ahead a lot. The section of floor got cut out and put in, along with many other patches, as you see. The welds are by no means perfect, but they are nice strong welds, and this is all clean metal that is inside this floor now. No more rotted pieces of metal, and a weird zoom in. You can see where I have everything welded in. All this will get ground down nice and smooth. And again, this is now strong. Everything through here is good. The passenger side got done as well. This was the easy side compared to the driver's side. The patches were minimal, and the work was done pretty well too. Everything is nice and strong. Everything got covered in primer, that way it doesn't rust, because some of this stuff is bare metal. And I'm giving it my all-around strength test. There's the bottom side of it where it got joined in. Yeah, that was all gone, and I had to add it all back in. Now I'm going to get the inner rockers welded onto the truck. At this part, I have the inner rockers fitted, ready to go. Everything is drilled, cut, trimmed, whatever it is, it's ready to go. Those are the holes for the plug welds for that new lip. This black stuff that is on the original sheet metal is called One Step. It is a really good rust converter. Just apply it to a rusty piece of metal and it turns it from brown to black. And this stuff is pretty tough. I've used it before and it works really well. Here's the inner rocker clamped in place. I'm gonna get all this stuff welded together off camera just to save some time. Inner rocker is welded. I took and scuffed up this powder coating and I'm applying a layer of primer. This e-coating stuff isn't really good to begin with, and I'm putting on a etch primer. That way it seals all the fresh metal and it doesn't start rusting again. After primer comes paint. I just had some black spray paint laying around, so I put it over the primer. This should hopefully further protect the inner rockers from rusting, because I don't want any of this stuff to start rotting again. Never again. Somewhere in here, I'm supposed to be doing outer rockers. But there are two problems that are stopping me from doing them. Alright, first problem comes in with the rockers. And of course, they don't exactly fit up right. I'm still trying to get the fitment right. The stamping gets a tap it off from the original, which, I mean, these are aftermarket. Go figure. But the stamping of this panel is so bad, it's unbelievable. Because I don't remember there being a gigantic step between top and bottom of the door jamb. And this is pretty close fitment too. And it's like over a 1/4 inch gap. The fitment isn't great at all. So I'm kind of stuck here because there's no way I'm gonna bridge that gigantic of a gap to make these fit. And I can't move it forward either because all this stuff's gonna be out of whack. The door jamb around here, this corner for the cab corners as well, and also this pocket for the striker as well for the rear door. If I move the panel up, all of this is gonna be out of whack, and I cannot move any of this stuff. This stuff is actually in its proper position, so I'm going to leave it be and figure out a game plan for the front, because it will involve cutting, which is why that piece of tape is there. And my second problem is I messed my back up. Don't know exactly what I did, because I woke up past couple mornings and felt some pain, but it wasn't too bad. Woke up this morning and the pain was actually pretty bad. I really can't walk that well. So it's a couple of visits to the chiropractor, I should be okay. But with those two problems, I'm gonna end this video here. Get what I can uploaded for you guys so I'm not dragging this on. And hopefully next episode we'll get the rest of this taken care of, because I didn't know the outer rockers were gonna be this bad to do. Everything was fine to do up to the outer rockers. So yeah, not fun. And also I want to thank you guys for over 500 subscribers. You guys are awesome. I just seen that recently. I was gonna do a separate video on it, but I figured why not just tack in one video. I do have a goal set. If I can get over 1,000 subscribers by the time this truck is up and running, I'll do a big old burnout in this truck and pray to God I don't snap that rear differential. But anyway, 1,000 subscribers, one big old smoky burnout. I think that's a pretty fair trade-off. But anyway, I'm gonna go, I'm gonna get rest up, take it easy, get this video uploaded for you guys, and I'll see you next time. If I'm being honest, how bad could you mess up the stamping? All the way down there. Like, how? How could you mess this up? It's supposed to be a whole length rocker, not a smaller section of rocker. That I understand needs trim, but doesn't exactly fit right. But I don't know. I'll get it figured out.